G'day, Happy New Year to everybody. It's Mel from Movement and You Fitness Coaching, and we're bringing to you for the first session of 2023 a stretching series. So I'm going to take you through some stretches that you can use for either after a workout or just to loosen up. And I'm going to use a technique in the beginning called progressive muscle relaxation. Just a short snippet of it to teach you how to use it at home. It helps in releasing the muscles and getting them to relax, so you actually get a better stretch result when you do your stretches. It's also really good and healthy for the mind as a bit of de-stressing. So I'll take you through a few minutes of that. The idea is with the progressive muscle relaxation, though, you use the techniques I show you with the movement of the body parts and the breathing for about 20 minutes, using the music that you hear in the background or something similar that you enjoy and find relaxing. So it's about connecting to music that you enjoy. You might not like this sort of music I have in the background, but something, maybe you like things like the sounds of forest or the sounds of water running over pebble stones. Whatever it is that you find relaxing, play in the background to aid in the relaxation and de-stress response that we're looking for. So you also may want to start stretching just as a form of exercise even. People don't consider stretching as a form of exercise, but if you're trying to start an exercise routine and you're not really into getting out there pounding the pavement, doing a circuit class or some sort of resistance routine, stretching is a really nice way to start a habit. Once you start to feel good with that, then you may be more open to moving into something else that's a bit more active, in accordance with getting that moderate heart rate up and muscle strength building. So you don't just necessarily use stretching for after an exercise routine. You can use it to relax. You might have a really tight body, come home from being at work all day. You don't need to go and do a big warm-up session. All you do need to do is ease into the stretches slowly and not force them. So you don't have to go and do some sort of 5 or 10 minute warm-up in order to stretch. You just need to ease into the stretches and slowly work into them. The other component of stretching for best results, always hold your stretches for 30 seconds and do them twice. All I'm going to do today is work through each stretch in order to keep the video short and show you how to do the stretch technique for that particular muscle group. So I'm not going to hold the stretches for the full 30 seconds and I'm not going to do 2 of each stretch. I'm just purely doing a video to show you the positions to get the stretches on certain muscle groups. So I'll keep producing these sort of stretch routines with different, more advanced stretches sometimes that take you into further flexibility work. Because remember, if you haven't stretched for a long time, you need to slowly ease into it. So I'll just keep it basic for today. Another really important component I want to talk about just before we get started on the progressive muscle relaxation is hydration. So when muscles are dehydrated, we're not necessarily dehydrated, but perhaps we haven't drank quite enough water for the day, and it takes the muscles into dehydration slightly. They also won't stretch as well as they could. So another tip that I do whenever I have a stretch routine is I have a glass of water and I make sure by the end of my stretch routine I've finished drinking it. So give it a go and see how you feel. It helps you to feel quite refreshed afterwards as well, because if you are slightly starting to go into dehydration, the water tops you back up. So we're going to get started with the progressive muscle relaxation right now. So what you need to do is lay in a comfortable position, or you may practice yoga and be really good at sitting with your legs crossed in a yoga position. Feel free to do that if you're more comfortable, but you need to be in a relaxed state. So make sure whatever position you choose to do this,
you're comfortable. Even if you want to sit in your lounge chair, you can sit in your lounge chair and do this. You don't have to be laying, as long as your body is relaxed and your mind can start to become into a relaxed state as well. That's what matters. So when you do lay, you may want to lay with your legs straight, or if you do suffer from lower back issues, you can even bend those knees up if you wish, and that supports the lower back so it doesn't put so much strain, which once again brings you into that fully relaxed state. So find your position. The hands though, I'd like you to have your hands on the lower abdomen, and I'll explain as we work through the technique as to why I would like you to focus on the hands staying in that position. So laying, starting to clear your mind, making sure you're comfortable. And the first thing we focus on is our breathing cycle. So we're going to breathe into a count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold that for 2. Exhale for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Breathing in for 4. Hold for 2. Exhale to 6. With your hands on your lower abdomen, they are there to help you return your focus to where you draw your breath from. So have a feel of your hands and see if they're moving up and down with the rise and fall of your breathing in and out. There's a good chance they won't be, and that's perfectly okay, because the average person predominantly breathes from either a combination of shallow chest breathing and stomach breathing, or stomach breathing. And it's just how we've become over time with tension and not really being aware of how our body functions. So that's one of the purposes of this technique, is to return your breathing from deep down in that lower abdomen area, where it reinforces to our body that we're in a relaxed state. And it also oxygenates the body to its fullest. So breathing in for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. Keeping your attention on that counting cycle, with thoughts come and going from your head. And as thoughts come in, because you might have a busy mind, try to draw your attention back to what your hands are doing, moving up and down, and focusing on drawing that breath deep down in the lower abdomen, pushing it up through the diaphragm, through the chest, out the throat, out the nose and mouth. Drawing it deep, deep down through the nose, down the throat, down the chest, through the diaphragm, entering into the stomach, then deep down into that lower abdomen. Feel it rise. Exhale, feel it fall. Breathing in for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6. Now we're ready to start incorporating muscle tension. As you enter into your next breathing cycle, breathing in for 4, I'd like you to begin to wiggle your toes and rotate your feet at your ankle joints. Turn your feet in one direction, turn them in the other, and wiggle the toes. When you begin to exhale for 6, I'd like you to let your feet flop to the floor. Let everything relax. Feel no tension. The tension leaves your body. Breathing in for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. As you breathe in for 4, begin to wiggle your toes and rotate your feet at your ankle joint. When you begin to exhale for 6, let your feet flop to the floor. Let the tension leave every part of your body as that breath exits. Feel the tension slowly release, working its way from your toes, up through the legs, through the shoulders, and out of the head. As you begin to breathe in for 4, squeeze your fist as tight as you can. Extend the fingers as long as you can. Opening and closing as tight as you can. Holding for 4. Releasing that breath for 6 and letting the hands flop to your abdomen as that breath exhales from your body. Feeling the tension travel through your arms, up through your shoulders, and out through your head. You almost feel like your head has lightened its load. Breathing in for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. As you breathe in for 4, begin to squeeze your fist as tight as you can, extending the fingers as long as you can, opening and closing. When you exhale for 6, allow your hands to rest back on your lower abdomen. Feel the tension travel out through your arms, into the shoulders, through the neck, and off of the head. As you breathe in for 4 this time, take your shoulders and shrug them up to your ears as tight as you can. Hold them up there tightly, as tight as you can. Shrug, hold in for 4. When you exhale for 6, allow them to flop back down to the floor. As you breathe in for 4, take those shoulders, shrug them up tightly to your ears, hold them up there, squeeze them as tight as you can. Hold them there, and when you exhale for 6, allow them to flop to the floor. Keep focusing on your breathing cycles throughout this stretching process. And for some of the stretches, I'll give cues as to when to breathe in and breathe out in order to aid the stretch and get more out of the range of motion. Make sure you don't force any of your stretches. Stretches should be a pleasant experience that is not painful. If you take your body part to the point that it starts to quiver and shake, you're forcing the stretch too hard. Make sure you listen to your body even when you stretch. So feel every movement taking the body part into its range of motion where you feel the muscle elongate and hold there. Don't take it to the point that the muscles are shaking and quivering because you're forcing the stretch too far then. So we're going to start stretching, but before we do, another tip that I'll give you is pause the video and go and dig out a stretch strap or even some sort of long belt, but it needs to be a good 1.5 meters long because for some of the stretches I use the strap for people who aren't very flexible in order to get a better stretch. So pause your video now if you need to. Go and grab a strap or a belt if you know that you're going to need something to help you stretch. And I'll show you how to use it so you can work on your flexibility, and perhaps one day you'll get to the point that you don't need to use the strap. So for now, we're going to go in to starting on the hamstrings. And for that, I'll show you a technique using the strap, where we're going to place it over the ball of the foot. With your leg that's resting, you can have it bent up once again. It's for that lumbar support, so it doesn't strain and ache while you're doing the stretch. If you don't have lumbar issues and you've got a good core to hold you tight, feel free to let your legs stretch out, because then what it does is it actually helps stretching those hip flexors down into the adductors as well. So it's your choice, but if you start to feel it pulling your lumbar area, I recommend popping that knee back up in order to support it, and you'll feel that lumbar area relax again and be more comfortable. So from here, using your strap, just pulling it forward like so, slightly bent knee, and the toes are pointing to my face in order to make sure we incorporate that calf muscle. So if you just have a pointed toe like so, the calf muscle gets left out, but we point the toes back to our face. So you can see how I've pulled my foot back. That's how I'm holding it. Drawing that foot back toward my face as I breathe out for 6. I pull it back far enough so I can feel the pull go through the back of this area. And as I said, if you're ensuring that you're pointing your toes down toward your face, you're also going to get some stretching through that calf area as well. Now from here, we hold that for a count of 10, and as the stretch eases, we pull it forward a little more toward our face. And from there, we hold it for another 10. And we don't count fast, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. From there, we then wait till we're in our breathing cycle at the point we're exhaling for 6, and we gently and slowly begin to lock the knee joint out to further intensify that stretch and really isolate into that hamstring area. Now, if you have knee issues, you may not be able to lock that knee out all the way, or if you have low flexibility. So listen to your body. As soon as you feel that muscle in the back of your leg or front start to quiver like that, it'll literally make your leg shake. Stop there. Don't keep trying to force the knee into a full lock. And slowly over time, your flexibility will improve and you will be able to get that range of motion through. From there, we just swap that strap over and we go into the other leg. So remember, stretching, you need to be patient. You're not going to get flexibility on your first session. you're not even going to get it after 1 week. It takes about 3 weeks to start to get an increase in flexibility and mobility. So those two are very independent of each other. So mobility is in regards to our joints and how far and easily they move through their range of motion. And flexibility is in regard to our muscles, ligaments and tendons. So throughout these stretching and mobility series, I'll show you different things to work on both areas. But for today, I'm just working with flexibility. So we're just working really on the muscles, ligaments and tendons, which does slightly transfer into mobility because we're putting our body into different positions. So it still transfers into mobility, but not as much as when we really concentrate. There's specific things we can do to improve our mobility, and I'll do some series where I incorporate that into the routine. So stay tuned, and even if you wish, subscribe so you don't miss those series if you're interested in developing your mobility. From here, we are going to go into a lumbar stretch. So straight leg, right leg is going to come across the body. This hand is out at 45 degrees. You only want to bring this knee high enough so your fingertips can touch. If your knee is so high that you have your whole hand over it, it's going to be too high and you will only stretch your gluteal muscle. When you lower that knee down, you incorporate your lumbar spine, which is what we really want to get rotational flexibility in. So push that knee down gently to feel it pull through the gluteal in your bottom and the lower lumbar area. Holding there. And once you've held that one for 30 seconds, because remember that's our hold time, you transfer to the other side, swapping it over, fingertips only. And you will have one side that is tighter than the other on your body. And depending on which stretch you're doing, it will be dependent on which side of your body is tighter, because it will transfer as you work from the lower body to the upper body. From there, we're going to go into a gluteal stretch with two options. So some people prefer to lay down and do this stretch. And if you do, and you're not very flexible, you can use your strap. You can place it around your leg and pull that toward your chest. Or if you do have good flexibility, just use your arms, pulling it toward your chest. But try to emphasize that knee going out at 90 degrees from your body. If the knee is pointing toward you, you're not going to stretch that gluteal. You want that knee to push out away from your body. So that's the next tip. If you are incredibly tight, which some people are, you can just lay in this position and begin to push that knee out like so, which for some people that's going to be really hard if you're very tight, and you'll still feel it in that bottom. So how it looks from the other side, foot is up and I push that knee out, and you'll feel it transfer through here in your bottom as well as your hip joint, because people who are really tight in their bottom often lack mobility in their hip. So you're going to feel it in two places. So gently pushing out. The other option, which gets a much better, deeper stretch because you have a better torque position, so you can apply more force to get into the stretch better, is crossing that, putting that foot on the knee, and from here pushing into the stretch. Make sure your chest is proud. If you let your chest concave, you will not feel the stretch as much in your gluteal, because you're compromising your position and collapsing your body, which means it doesn't have to stretch as far down through the gluteal. So get that chest proud, push that chest out, And as the stretch eases, pushing forward into it, just like I am. From the other side, placing that foot there, setting up, working your way slowly deeper into the stretch. Keep that chest proud, pushing it out. And remember, you hold for 30 seconds, you do 2 stretches on each side. And relaxing there. All right. Now we also want to ensure we keep our spine nice and mobile, as well as our abdomen. So we're going to do what's known as the cobra stretch. And for that, it's a simple matter. Oh, I've just kicked my sign over. Look out. There we go. For the cobra stretch, it's a simple matter of laying flat on our stomachs, pushing our pelvis into the floor. So don't let it lift up off the floor. From here, I'm on my elbows, pushing up, feeling the pull go up through my abdomen here, extending the head so it incorporates those muscles in the front of the neck. Now you may be really flexible and you may be able to go into straight arms, so please feel free to do that. I don't have such flexibility in that area, unfortunately, so I just stay on my elbows, pushing up. And once again, hold it for 30 seconds. Now, here's the trick. Once you've held that for 30 seconds, for your second round of stretching that area, we go into a push-up fashion where we use a dynamic stretch / mobility. And how that works is we're incorporating more mobility through the bones, so the joints in the lumbar area, as well as making the ligaments and tendons work. So pushing up and down, not holding the position, and doing it gently, not forcing that end range, gently pushing up and down 10 times. And then that's the second component done. From here, we're going to go onto our side. But for those who have very tight knees, you will stay on your stomach. So those of you who have very tight knees and don't have great flexibility through that area, for whatever reason, this first demo is for you. And this is where the strap comes in to play again, to help for those people with low flexibility. And how it works is opposite hand takes the strap to the leg you're stretching, because when we put a slight twist on that foot, it assists in stretching the quadricep muscles a lot better because of where the tendons attach to. So from here, staying flat, don't come up into an arch position, stay flat, pulling that foot forward, drawing it closer to your bottom. Once again, holding for 30 seconds. And once you're got that as close to your bottom as you can, and if you no longer feel the stretch, you should be able to go into using your hands. And once you can do that for a week, you'll transfer to this particular style stretch where you can get even further range. You no longer need the strap. The bottom leg comes forward 90 degrees to the body to support you for balance. Support your neck and head with your hand, grabbing the foot with your hand, bringing that leg down. From here, I'm pulling the foot back to my bottom, just as we did in the stomach position, feeling the pull go through the front, up into the hip area. Now, if your leg begins to lift like so, as you pull the foot back and it's lifting, you need to ease your foot back out. And if you need to, you'll go back to the strap and do it like so to ease that foot out. Because when that leg starts to shift up like so, away from the floor, you take a lot of the flexibility work out from the hip area where the tendons attach up into. And you're not going to stretch those muscles in the quadricep area to their fullest extent. We want to keep that leg parallel to the ground. So 30 seconds and then release. And you do that twice. And the best way to do that is to do one on each side and then go back and do them again. So I'm going to show you from the back how it looks like, so you've got an idea and know that you've got everything in the right position. So from the back, my leg is out in front for balance. I'm supporting my head and neck, grabbing the foot and pulling it back. From here, holding it for 30 seconds, making sure my leg isn't up. I'm keeping that leg parallel to the floor. If my leg creeps up, I'm easing off on the foot, which if I need to, I can chuck a strap over it to let it ease up. But if you've got your leg parallel to the floor, no need to use the strap. Quadricep muscles stretched. Right, I think it might be time for some more water to keep that hydration up. From here, we're going to go into some upper body. So we're going to look at doing latissimus dorsi. And how that's going to work is supporting the body with this left hand down on the floor. I'm going to take my right hand across my body. So I'm going to turn front onto the camera so you can see how I twist my trunk, because it's very important to twist the trunk for this stretch in order to feel it. So we're going to feel the stretch down our right hand side through this area. So left hand supports the body, right hand crosses the trunk and makes the trunk twist to the left hand side. From here, I'm dropping my bottom down and my head and allowing the pull to go through my side of my trunk. Have a look from the side in a moment how it looks. So after 30 seconds, I swap sides. So I'm going to show you side on how that will look. So my right hand's supporting, my left hand's crossing over, and I drop it down. And relaxing that. For the next upper body stretch, we're looking at the muscles on the rear side through our shoulders. Quite often, people who have desk job or even standing jobs where you have to hold your posture for a long time, those muscles are the ones that get really tight and ache, and it travels up into your neck. So we're going to stretch those. So from the front, just bringing the feet together like so. Then from there, crossing the hands. In that position, grabbing the ankles. From here, the elbows bend forward, and then we have to drop the head, and I'm going to turn sideways so you can see the position, and we arch our spine into a C shape. And I'm pulling myself forward as I resist. So it's a bit of a P and F stretch, which is when we use a little bit of force to get the muscle into stretch and play with the muscle sensory organs to get them to stretch a little further than what they may want to. And relax. Okay, so you'd repeat that twice as well. So now we're going to keep going with some upper body stretches, using the wall for some of them, and they're really good, especially if, once again, you've had a long day at work, releasing all through those shoulders, getting rid of the tension. In some of my next series, I'm going to add some myofascial work in, where we'll use the foam rollers, and I'll show you some trigger ball techniques for releasing the neck, etc.
I call it my desk posture series. So make sure you stay tuned looking for that one. Once again, just hit subscribe and you won't miss out. You'll get notified when I put up new videos. So the first component, we're working on stretching through the pectoralis muscle, through this chest area and into the shoulder nice and deep. So to do that, I'm going to use the wall first, and then I'll show you a technique if you're a little bit tight to use the wall, where we'll use that strap that I asked you to go and get, whether it be a belt or some sort of long strap. So for the first one, stand side on to your wall. Now the side that's closest to the wall, I want you to take that leg forward. Make sure you bend your knees and have your hip pushed into the wall so you're softly leaning. Don't jam yourself into it, just softly leaning. From here, the arm that's closest to the wall should come out behind you. Rotate that palm into the wall and allow your shoulder to turn into the wall. So your shoulder's now pushing into it. From here, slide the hand up into a 45-degree angle almost from the shoulder. If it's down here at 90, you really miss out on stretching the full pectoralis muscle to its complete extent. So get that elbow up almost at about 11 o'clock. If this is 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock is out here. Push that palm into the wall. Now, as that stretch eases through that shoulder joint, start to turn the trunk of your body to face the wall in front of you as much as you can to push through that stretch and retract the opposite shoulder. So see how my shoulder was rolled forward? Retract that opposite shoulder and that will intensify the stretch as well. Keep the knees nice and bent so you're supporting your core muscles and keeping a nice posture there. And once again, 30 seconds, swap sides. So setting up again, the side closest to the wall, stepping forward, allow that hand to slide back behind, and then start to turn your body away from the wall. 30 seconds, back and forth, both sides. Now the other option that really helps, and I find it's really good to have a combo of chest stretches, or all stretches, because sometimes the body becomes used to them, and when you do a different type of stretch for that same body part, it re-stimulates it and gets you a little further range. So taking that strap that I asked you to get before, you're going to take your hands just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Don't grip your strap hard, just soft so your hands can slide in and out. From this position, we're going to take the strap over the head and behind till our hands are in line with our shoulders. Now, as we do that, we don't want to allow our hands to pull apart too much like so. There's no stretch there. So what we want to do is make sure we only compromise the width of our hands enough to bring them down to the height of our shoulders and really feel that stretch travel through the pectoralis muscle and down into the bicep area. It's an excellent stretch to really open up that chest area. Once again, 30 seconds, 2 lots. From there, we're going to keep working on the shoulder joint and take that hand behind the head, resting just like so. Bend the elbow as much as you can because that intensifies the pull on the tricep muscle which we're trying to stretch. From here, pull the elbow across. So you're pulling the elbow that way to intensify the stretch again. Now the beauty of this stretch, hold it for about 15-20 seconds and then we're going to tilt sideways to incorporate the lumbar spine. So from here, we go sideways and it intensifies the stretch on the tricep and lateral trunk as well as the lumbar spine. So through this area, up here and up through here. And you hold it for another 15 seconds roughly and let it relax. From there, swapping sides, same technique, pulling the arm across, hold it for a good 15-20 seconds and once again turning sideways. Across we go, intensifying that stretch down through here and across our lumbar spine. 30 seconds, 2 lots. Now for our last stretch,
we're going to hit those calf muscles again, just to make sure we get really deep into them, because just stretching them with the strap on the hamstring isn't quite enough. So what we want to do, it's easiest with a piece of wall. You don't have to use the wall, but you can push into it far more when you use the wall. So I line myself up where I've got my forearms against the wall at about shoulder height, chest height position. From here, taking one leg back. Now with that, I make sure my heel is flat to the floor, my toes are pointed straight to the wall. Don't have your foot rotated out, it will take a lot of the stretch out of the calf muscle. Toes pointing to the wall. Then, while leaning on the wall, I get my pelvis and push it forward. Don't have your bottom sticking out. Once again, it will take a lot of the stretch out of the muscle. Push that pelvis forward toward the wall and hold there. Jamming the foot flat into the floor, almost taking your weight off of that front leg even, in order to make sure the foot is completely flat to the floor. 30 seconds each side, repeating twice. And that's our stretch series finished for the day. I hope you enjoy it. Remember, use it for relaxation if you want to. It doesn't just have to be after exercise. So that's that stretch session finished. Enjoy it. You don't even have to do the full thing. Take bits and pieces from it. Just try to keep stretching. That's the main thing. Keep boosting your flexibility, stay hydrated, and look after your body. See you next time on Movement and You Fitness Coaching.